Hi, everyone. We're Sean and Julie Chicory, and we're here with Nate from EXPLORIST.life talking about off-grid living and the benefits of solar and lithium battery power. Nate, can you start by just telling us what your power setup is?
So my off-grid setup is a little different right now because I'm currently in a house. We were in a camper van for about 4 years, and we just recently came off the road last year. But when we were in our camper, we had 600 amp hours of battle-born batteries, and then we had 825 watts of solar up on the roof, 2,000 watt Victron inverter, charge controller from Victron as well. So that was pretty much the main setup. Historically used about 300 amp hours a day, so that would span us about two days of usage. So it worked pretty well.
Hi Nate, this is Dennis, the CEO of Battleborn Batteries, and I'm definitely very interested in your battery and off-grid setup. You said you're in a house right now, right?
I am, yes.
Okay, I am too, actually. So we are doing our part here to keep the community safe. But this is an interesting time to talk about living off-grid because for a lot of people, this is actually a good time to be thinking about living off-grid and sort of maintaining distance. Can you talk a little bit about what it would be like being off-grid in a time like now, where people are really focused on this sort of thing?
Like I said, we spent 4 years off-grid, just in our camper, but I think one of the main things about it is just that keeping a positive mental state and being incredibly intentional about every single decision that you make.
So you said you had about 800 watts of solar and 600 amp hours of battery,
right?
And you're typically down in battery power around 300 amp hours, or is it you use 300 amp hours a day?
Use 300 amp hours a day. Yeah.
Okay. Have you noticed a big difference when you're on the road in seasons?
Not really. Let's see. Our very first year on the road, when we went to Alaska, and so that low sun angle, that really had a big effect on everything. And so we were actually in a big Class A RV at that point. But so we had a generator, and we were having to use that generator pretty often. This was before the 600 amp hours of lithium. This is before we did that big upgrade.
Are you working right now at home, or are you in the house, or are you taking a little bit of a break at all?
No, everything's actually picked up. So what I do now is I teach people how to build campers. I'm really, really fortunate right now that everything I can do from at my house. I've got a 3D printer running downstairs. I was running the drill press this morning, making bus bars and all that kind of stuff. And so it's great to be able to have a space to do this stuff, and then be able to teach other people how to live off grid, the stuff they need to build these power systems and everything like that.
So as you're providing these tutorials to folks, can you kind of give us the folks that want to live off grid in a van or a camper, can you kind of give us what your top 3 tips are for people that to make off-grid living easier?
I'd say the first tip is just have reasonable expectations. If you have these reasonable expectations, then whenever something doesn't work, it's well, was that a lofty goal? Was that too much? Was I trying to power 4 air conditioners off of solar? Maybe not that realistic. And so, and on the flip side, there's a lot of people that they try to underpower their systems. They're like, oh, well, I just have modest power. And I always ask, it's well, what is modest power? Modest power to me, to you, they may be 2 different things. And so they're like, oh, well, I'm just trying to run a computer and charge my phone and run a Tesla coil at the same time. It's what? Okay. It's well, you're going to need more power to do all of that at the same time. So setting realistic expectations is pretty important. I'd say another one is be intentional with your decisions. Life on the road, you have to be really intentional with your decisions, from everything from planning grocery stops because sometimes you may be 45 minutes or an hour away from the closest grocery store. How much water do you have left? Do you have enough water to get you through the night, through the next day? Where is the next, where can you fill up with water? Where can you dump your gray water tanks? All that kind of stuff. So it's just about being intentional with decisions. And I would say the last one is just being flexible. Like, me and Stephanie, we joke a lot, and we always come up with the plans A, B, C, and D, and we always bank on plan A just not working. So it's like pretty much just a write-off from the start. Like, this is like ideal scenario, but it's not going to happen. So let's make sure plan B is like pretty good. And so I think that's where being flexible comes in and having that plan.
I love those first two because you said, setting reasonable expectations and being deliberate, intentional in what you're doing. And I think that this is a point that people that want to live off grid, it's so important that they know what they're using and they understand how much they're getting, how much they're making from the sun, or how much they expect to run their generator or whatever. And a lot of folks, they're just not used to doing that. When you're in a house, you just turn on your light switch and you turn on whatever you want to. You don't worry about it. But the fact that people have to start thinking about that now, I think is a really important point, as we start moving into a sort of renewable energy future.
Yeah, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. Like, I know with kind of my situation right now with, we don't know where this is going to go. Hopefully it'll get resolved quickly, like ideal scenario and stuff like that. But planning and being intentional with everything, like if things start to go downhill, it's like we have this information. If we've already started living off grid, we already have this knowledge and this information. It's like you know, I could wire in my panels from my van into my garage and then set up all my batteries inside and then power some devices throughout the house. Like that's the knowledge that I've gained from living off grid and from teaching other people how to do this stuff. And it's like that knowledge right now is just so important, so important.
Well, thanks so much, Nate, for joining us and talking about this a little bit. If people want to find you, how do they do that?
Two best spots going to be our website, EXPLORIST.life, EXPLORIST.life, and then the YouTube channel by the same name.
Great. Well, again, thanks so much for taking the time, and stay safe.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.